just hold it. I want us to listen to a voice, then I can hear from Honorable Baya here. He's been a bit quiet. On some leaders from the Kenya Human Rights Commission on the account of what has been going on.
From July 7th to 19th, civil society organizations have reported 27 extrajudicial, summary and arbitrary executions. While President Ruto has promised to end the era of police killer squads, the recent unfolding events reveal that the security agencies have clear intentions to execute protesters.
All right, and Honorable Baya,
yes.
I mean, we may disagree on so many issues.
Yes.
Politics, policy, who is president, who is not, who will be, who will not. But when 27 people lose their lives, these are families affected, do you see a path towards a solution to ensuring that no other person dies unnecessarily?
Sam, I'll tell you this. I've had the Honorable Raila Odinga speak about this, and he said, well, we have our martyrs. That's what he said. There's a statement that said these people who died are martyrs of the struggle for freedom. When I listened to that, I said, all right, so how many martyrs have we had since Raila Odinga started seeking the presidency? And how many more people must continue to die because somebody is trying to seek leadership? Sam, I have been very clear. I was a member of ODM. I disagreed with them on these issues. The issues that government says, let's come discuss. Honorable Mbu here, we were in the same coalition with him. His leg, I don't know whether he has properly healed, but it was once broken. I questioned, why do we want to go on these violent demonstrations all the time? Why does a country have to go through this trail all the time after an election? This is not about cost of living. It's not about it. It is about a known path for Raila Odinga after every election. Unfortunately, my brother here has never seen the light. He has continued to be part of that system without going out to speak against that. When I was in ODM, I spoke against it. I said we cannot continue to take a country through this pathway every after election. These things come after every election, and it is a known fact. The only thing is, my brothers on the other side think that this is the pathway to go. We just need something small. Oh, finance bill. This finance bill we will hold, move around, latch it, so that it becomes a big thing, so that we can do the normal things that we do after every election. Sam, these are post-election violence. Just like it took place in 2007, it took place after 2013, it took place 2017. It's a pattern that is known. This is not at all protests or demos. This is post-election violence that is organized by the person who's known for doing that. And we need to call a spade, not a big spoon. Honorable Mbui has participated in these things after every election, and he knows it. And it is not about the cost of living. It was there in 2007, it was there in 2013, and it will continue to be there as long as Raila Odinga loses an election, there'll be protests. And that is the truth, and we cannot gainsay that. This idea of cost of living is something that they latch on to seek a place for Raila Odinga in government. And we have been very clear, we will not give in to this as a government.
I think that
you see, I want to continue and say this. I want to continue to say this. It is unfortunate that people are losing lives. Very unfortunate. And as a country, we must continue to condemn the loss of lives under whoever hand. But even these civil society organizations also tell us how many police officers have died. They need to tell us how many police officers have been injured. They need to tell us how many other people died, not because of a police bullet.
Do you know how many police officers have died?
Last time when Professor Kindiki talked about it, I think after the first demo, I think there were around 4 police officers who had died in Nyanza. Yes, and that is a fact.
That's a lie.
Yes, it is not a lie. Just check the archives, check and you'll see that the Minister for Interior said police officers have died. And we have seen it. That guy who was hit by that catapult died. And that is a fact. Exactly. There are police officers who are in hospital injured because of this protest. When is a police officer's life important as that of a protester? Again, Sam, when we look at these protests, peaceful, you know, Honorable Bush says, you know, when they go out there to raid a departmental store or a supermarket, the police should just go there and pick them and arrest them and do that. Have you seen the situation when these guys are demonstrating? Is it possible to go just out there as a police officer to pick one person? They are violent people. We saw protests in South Africa.
So what's the right solution?
Let me finish this. We saw protests in South Africa. And I think Malema spoke about it. We saw a huge protest in South Africa that was peaceful, and they made known their views. We have seen protests in other parts of the country, where in the world, where people come out and demonstrate. Why is it different in Kenya? Protests are not just happening in Kenya.
So
demos are not just happening.
What would it take for us to implement Article 37 of the Constitution?
Because the organizers have not wanted to implement the full scale of Article 37.
No, I'm asking, what would it take?
I want to finish my point before I come to that. I'll come to that. In Kilifi, where I've been in the village for the last 2 weeks. When the protests were called, I think on the 27th, at 6 o'clock in the morning, the protest is supposed to start at 6 o'clock. Young people were already out burning tires and blocking roads. And they have huge rocks, you know, even before the police came out. So I called to say, what time did the demonstrators tell you they will start the protest? What time? Because the letter to the OCS, actually the letter is supposed to be written to the OCS. If I organize a protest, we have organized demos for civil societies, for other issues, yeah? You write and say, we have protests on this day and these times, and we will cover this route from this point to this point, and we will end here. And the police would call you and say, okay, come as an organizer, let's arrange security. Okay, so you go and say, okay, how many protesters will you have? This much. Do you have water? We have this. Do you need a police vehicle to help you open the road? Yes, that is what I need. Do you think there'll be any violent things? If the police have had their investigations to know, probably there will be instances of violence or what. They will tell you, you see, yes, you want to do this. But we think there will be a problem here because there are people who are opposed to your demo, and therefore there will be skirmishes here. So before you go take your protesters into something that is risky, please reschedule.
You think that is possible to do?
It is possible to do it. It is possible. Okay. The organizers just need to be responsible. Robert Mbui here, when he goes, and you know, Robert confesses that when they held the demonstration in Ukambani, in Kathiani, with his party leader, it was peaceful. It was peaceful. And the police did nothing. The police actually protected them until they finished their cause. And it was peaceful. We saw it. And we saw, actually, Robert Mbui needs to sit with his party, these other guys, and tell them, this is the way to organize protests. And we will have protests here every day without any shop being looted, without anybody getting injured, without any... That is possible in this country only when the organizers take responsibility and only when they are clear about the motive. What is the motive of this protest? Are these post-election violence is being organized? Have they brought a guerrilla war to the streets of Nairobi?
Wait.
Or
so there's motive also. How do you measure that, the motive?
The motive, you know, the motive, I've been very clear on the motive. The motive is not about high cost of living. The motive is not about the finance bill. It is not. I have read what Kalonzo Musyoka told the envoys when he had a meeting with the envoys, and the envoys went to him and told him, look, we have a problem here because we are seeing the protests and all that. He said, you see, we need the servers to be opened. We need IBC to be reconstituted in a certain way. We need... And I thought...
So are you then saying, as long as those are the issues that Azimio brings on the table, they will never be allowed to have demonstrations in this country?
The Azimio will be allowed to have demonstrations. The president has been very clear. In fact...
I'm talking about those issues because you're talking about motive.
Yes, the motive. Is the motive to destroy property? Is the motive to injure? Why do they come with stones? Why do they burn tires?
No.
Why do they bring...
You're moving away from my question, so I'll move away from you and I'll listen to something else of what happened in Karen, the former president.